1978 Casuals, Los Angeles, California. And I thought today we would bring you a little bit of this video from outside. It's a beautiful day. And finally, not too hot to go outside. So after a bit of Moo Mia ice cream, I find myself outside in the back garden. Behind the boards here, actually, if you ever get to chase Denny and Mark's fantastic, legendary, promiscuous sorbet, the persimmon tree is right behind me. Right, it's a bit of a state secret that. Anyway, excuse me with the vest today, but this young man last night decided that a coyote running behind me in the hills was much more fun to chase than Dad being able to use his shoulder for the weekend. And the fact that the coyote was chasing a skunk made it even more entertaining, apparently. So, apologise for the vest, but having a bit of an issue raising the arm above the shoulder at the moment. Anyway, first things first. Once again, got to do a shout out to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Sadly, finally passed this week. Magnificent lady. Whether you're a royalist or not, I think you will all agree that she led the country with as much dignity and self-respect as anybody possibly could have. Shout out to the new king. I hope you do a good job, mate, and wish you the best of luck. And that can't be easy. I can't imagine that job or how to do it. And hopefully the people will stand behind you and at least give you a shot, eh? We've all made mistakes in the past, and I think everyone deserves a second, third, sometimes a fourth chance. William, fair play, mate. Nothing. What can be said about you? You know, my mum's already gushing, and I think you're on the way to becoming a fantastic king yourself. Harry, mate, what can I say? Mate, seriously, what can I say? I know you're in Cali. I'm sure you can get my phone number somehow. But you, mate, seriously, will you? Come on, Harry. Anyway, enough of that. I think it's time for Manchester United history part 2. Right. The 1930s for Manchester United were a bit dismal, to say the least, as you can hear. And that obviously led to World War II, which put a kibosh on all football, really, obviously in Europe, until about 1945, when the legend of Matt Busby began. So anybody, again, who's new to Manchester United, this is some history that you need to know. And for you old timers out there, again, as always, if I mess it up, please, give us a shout and let us know. So Matt Busby was, funny enough, slated to go to Liverpool, but actually came to Manchester United. Not many people know that. And at the beginning of his tenure in, I believe, 47-48, we actually we were runners up in 47. And then in 47-48, led to FA Cup victory and back-to-back medals for Manchester United in the league. So not a bad start. Matt Busby became famous, we say, not just because of only Manchester United, but because he became a legend of his belief in the youth, right? So Manchester United, pretty much ever since then, has been known as a club who believes in its young players, believes in its foundation, and trusts the younger lads out there, and it gives them the opportunity to shine, which is very, very important, I think, in any aspect. So Matt Busby became very, very famous for his belief in the youngsters, and basically the phrase that was turned from that point on was known as the Busby Babes. At that time, Manchester United was the first English club allowed to play and compete in Europe. In what nowadays would be the UEFA Cup or the European Cup. The English League were a stuffy bunch of gentlemen, to say the least, and the year before had prevented Chelsea actually from competing. All about their rules and regulations. We couldn't play in Europe. Doing business with the opposition, if you will, another country just wasn't on. So anyway, Manchester United, being Manchester United, went off and did their thing and competed in Europe. Now, I forgot to premise this with the fact that, as with all legends, really, and monumental clubs or anything, there is within a story there are heroes, there are villains. There's tragedy, and there's hopefully the happy ever after. So for us right now, villains are not Liverpool. They're the FC in England, who on Manchester United playing in Europe laid down the stipulation that Manchester United had to be back in the UK on a certain date and had to play their next league game by a certain day, otherwise they would be disqualified and kicked out of the league. So in a very, 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 very easy short form, Manchester United were forced to fly back from a game against Red Star Belgrade, I believe. And it was in awful conditions. And obviously in those days there were no direct flights, there were no charter flights, there were no private planes. So they flew from Russia to Munich. Sadly, on the third attempt of the aircraft taking off, it crashed and exploded. And 23 of the best football players that ever walked the earth at that point were all killed. A huge tragedy for football, huge tragedy obviously for Manchester. To this day, it's still felt in Manchester. There are the offspring, the siblings, still in Manchester, still families there. So Bobby Charlton was actually on the plane. And whenever you hear him talk about that day, I mean, all you got to do is look at his eyes. I mean, it's just, he still carries it. In fact, for anyone, again, the new youngsters and you guys coming out to Manchester United, he almost never played football again. He had the hardest time getting back on the pitch, and for us, thank God that he did. But you can't imagine. But anyway, at Old Trafford, there is a plaque remembering Manchester United on February. We remember every year. Sorry, it's a bit of a touch and go subject there. It's just funny. I wasn't even there. You get a bit emotional. We actually were on the way home from our biggest ever victory in Europe or any competition. It was 10-0. We'd done a Belgian club, Belgian champions, Anderlecht 10-0 on the way home from Europe, and then the lads crashed and died. Crazy, right? Anyway, Bobby Charlton goes on to play for Manchester United, and as I said about the heroes and villains and success and happily ever after, out of that fire, as every devil does, right? Raises out the fire, came the legends that were Denis Law, the George Best, Sir Bobby Charlton. Anybody who's ever seen George Best play, or ever did see George Best play, will tell you, guys of my father's age, generation, Patchy's dad, as you've probably seen on here, the man number one on the football pitch. There was nothing he couldn't do. They called him the White Pele. Just a phenomenon, just a freak of nature. Bit of a Jack the Lad, let's say. He was the first superstar football player ever. He was actually, there's a good video of Giggsy and Best going out on the town one night. It was quite interesting. Real ladies man. For those of you who don't know, ended up in California, Los Angeles, just down the road actually, Redondo Beach, Bestie's Bar, that have hosted us many times in the past. Sadly, I think the last time, 78 was down there, was the Europa final that we lost. But George Best, God rest his soul, and many songs to him, man. Man knew how to live his life, lived it for Manchester United, played at Manchester United, and when he went on his way, he's still celebrated for Manchester United. So true legend. Denis Law and Bobby Charlton, the three of them. I mean, just you watch, if you want to watch Manchester United, if you came to United in the days of the class of '92, who are a phenomenon in their own right and will be the next history lesson. There's something real special about the old time boys there. It's just that's where the beginning of just what we can do really comes from, I believe. Anyway, it's what should I say? Bobby and the boys, after lifting the European Cup, actually being the first team in England to lift the cup, were knighted. Bobby Charlton, Denis Law, and George Best people will tell you should have been knighted, and they probably are in spirit. As Bobby Charlton's stand. When Samantha Busby retired, I think it was 69. Yeah, I was born 69. She retired 69. he stayed with the club, and you know, again, the guys from class of '92 will tell you that they would walk through Old Trafford, and you know, the guys' office door was always open. But sadly, as they said, that a few of them never went in there. But anyway, on the subject of legends, real quick, if you will indulge me 1 second, and I am going to bring it up again, Mr. Maguire. So yeah, Mr. Casey Gale, 30,000 hits, whatever. Yeah, it's a team effort, mate. I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, I'm going to bring it up again. Right? Harry Maguire should not be playing for Manchester United anymore. You're shit, mate. You're shit and you're shit. Okay, and I know all about shit because I tried to play football and I was shit. But at least I tried. Yeah, it's just got to jog on, mate. I mean, I'm sorry, but and I respect all the opinions out there about how hard it must have been about coming to Manchester United, let alone being the captain. I get that, I really do. I mean, but life's difficult. But when you're getting a paycheck like he is, that's how it goes, right? Life is short, and you need to be on your toes because you don't represent Manchester United, as far as I'm concerned. You're a disgrace the second that you took that armband off. Yes, I'm going there again. Took your captain's armband off and you threw it on the floor like a child, right? You are representing one of the best clubs in the world. You're leading men into battle. You've got people watching you, people apparently looking up to you, and you throw the Manchester United captain's band on the ground. How dare you, mate? There's a gentleman today, right, who stood in line for 11, 12, 13 hours in London to say goodbye to the Queen, right? He stood there. I don't know, what do you have, 3 or 4 seconds to say goodbye to the Queen? No cameras, no phones, no cell phones, nothing. Just you know, bit of class to say goodbye. You know what that was? Apart from the other 80,000, 100,000? Mr. David Beckham, right? Next fella that's going to be knighted, I hope. Right, he stood there with every other punter, every other one of us, right, normal folk, and he stood in line to say goodbye to the Queen, right? Legend, mate, right? So his skill made him a football player. Manchester United made him superstar. But it's behaviour like that that made him a legend. Mr. Maguire, you'll never be any of those things. Now, on your toes, mate, piss off. Right, Glazers out, Glazers out, Glazers out. I am off for Liverpool.